It's Nick here for IntuBoxing, and I'm delighted to be joined by Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just watched a good weigh-in. Ready for the action tomorrow night.
As you say, you just had the weigh-in there for the Cruiserweight tournament. Going to be fast, ferocious, 3-3-minute rounds. If you were fighting in a tournament style like this, Paulie, what tactics would you approach?
You have to start fast. You want to be smart, but you have to be able to think on the fly. You don't have that feel-out process that you have in a longer fight. So you've got to, be a quick starter, because if you don't start quick enough, you may be the better fighter, but you get outworked and you lose the fight. So you got to definitely be a quick starter, but at the same time, learn to think on the fly and figure things out on the fly. While at the same time, keeping in the back of your mind the fact that you may need to, fight at 80% and not 100% if you can afford to. So obviously, the main key is to win the fight and then rest up later.
Obviously, as you mentioned there, the rest. Obviously, 3 fights for the fighter to get to the final. Do you reckon the rest in between will help a fighter rest up, or do you reckon it'll hinder them because of momentum?
Yeah, because I think if a fighter wins, he's going to keep in mind that he's going to got to stay warm in the dressing room. Maybe rest up at first and then start warming up again. You've got to know how to balance that out too. Even psychologically, you kind of let yourself down. You got to pick yourself back up. That can play a big factor as well. But once you get into the swing of things, I think it's a pretty good rush for the fighters to be involved in a tournament like this, and I think their adrenaline will keep them going. But yeah, you've got to also bear in mind that you're going to hopefully not have such tough fights earlier in the tournament, so you've got something left for later in the tournament. Because I've seen some of these Boxxer tournaments where some of the better fighters, they wind up in tough fights, and by the end of the tournament, they're done. I can remember one, I forgot what weight class it was, but the guy got beat in the finals. He had nothing left in the finals,
That's it. It's going to be a great night tomorrow night in Manchester. Obviously, we just flipped back earlier this week. Ben Whittaker signed with Sky Sports. Have you managed to see much of Ben Whittaker, and how far can he go in his career? He looks great.
Yeah, he looks to have all the goods. He looks to take all the boxes, really. Very good fighter, good-looking kid, charisma, personality. I think he ticks all the boxes. He has a real knack for having that winning attitude. I've seen him take off that silver medal at the Olympics. It caused some controversy, but in reality, anybody that expects that good of themselves, that much of themselves, will always put in the extra work rate, will always put in the extra time to develop themselves into the most elite version of themselves they can give you. And so I think that actually has left him with more hunger, more desire, not winning the gold medal at the Olympics. Surely a silver medal is a great accomplishment, but he's got a desire and hunger. It almost feels like he's got unfinished business, and he's going to take care of it in the pros. So I think he's going to be very entertaining to watch in the years to come.
As one career starts, another one ends. Amir Khan's just today announced his retirement from the sport of boxing. Do you reckon that's the right decision from Amir? And give us some insight into Amir's career.
Matter of fact, Kel and Amir, I think they retired the same week. They've been buzzing around each other the entire careers, and then at the end of their careers, they kind of wound up back together. Everything comes full circle. They fought at the end of their careers and they retired at the end of their careers. I think it's the right decision for both of them. They both had very, very good careers, excellent careers. I would assume they're financially stable, and they can be healthy and enjoy their families and take care of things the way they need to. And I think that's the smart thing.
Going back to last weekend, obviously Dmitry Bivol pulled off the victory in Las Vegas against Canelo. Just give us your thoughts on that fight. Was it a shock to you, or did you expect Bivol to come through?
You never expect anything in a Canelo fight, because even if he loses, he doesn't actually lose the decision. They usually give it to him. So I did think it was a tough fight. I was saying that on my YouTube channel, Paulie.tv. I was mentioning the fact that I actually thought it could be a controversial decision in favor of Canelo. That was what I was angling towards, meaning that I thought Bivol would fight a fight that many people would have thought he won, and then he wouldn't get the decision. You gotta excuse me for that, because I'm scarred from the judges' decisions in Canelo fights. It's not, this has happened before. So this time they got it right, but they almost got it wrong. They made it a lot closer than it should have been. Canelo doesn't like to fight at a fast pace. That was one of the main intricacies I had in questioning his fight. Bivol always likes to fight at a pretty good pace, and Canelo never fights at a fast pace. So when he's very uncomfortable when you force him to fight at a fast pace, and usually he's been able to kind of diminish the pace of his opponents by getting their respect, intimidating them with his power, his reputation, the crowd, and everything. But those Eastern European guys, they don't care, man. They got ice in their veins, man. And so this guy just fought his fight and actually got more and more confident as the fight progressed.
I know obviously after the fight they both came together and talked about a rematch, and then it was talked about that the rematch could be down at super middleweight. Do you reckon that we will see the rematch, and do you reckon it will be at super middle?
I think Canelo's probably better off fighting Golovkin first, you know, kind of getting the confidence builder. Golovkin is older at this point. It's not the same Golovkin. You can kind of seal the deal with that rivalry with an emphatic win. I think he lost the first 2 fights to Golovkin personally. I think he lost both of them, but I think he would win emphatically in the third fight. It looks to be a little bit of a shot one Golovkin from what I saw in the Murata fight. So I think that could be sort of a confidence builder for him, and you know, he could kind of get the momentum back rolling in terms of the fan base as well. He's a phenomenal star for boxing, and he's got both hardcore fans and boxing fans and casual fans always giving opinions about him and tuning in for his fight. So he's done terrific for the sport of boxing. But of course, from a competitive standpoint, I don't know if fighting Bivol is the best way for him. But the competitor in him may eventually make him take that fight again. I personally, while they're saying it could be an immediate rematch, I personally don't see that happening. I think the better, cooler heads will prevail, and he may go for the Golovkin fight first. And the rematch at 168 may be good talking points. You know, will Bivol be the same, losing extra weight? Will Canelo be stronger at a more natural weight for him? He's coming in as the undisputed champion. Will that give him more confidence? I think at the end of the day, those are just talking points that sell the fight. I don't think anything different happens in the fight. I think Bivol wins. He has his number.
After the fight, obviously, there was a video posted by Jake Paul online saying he beat Canelo Alvarez in 3 years. Just give us your thoughts on that comment, and also, is Jake Paul good for boxing?
I think Jake is good for boxing. I think he's done a lot of good things for boxing, not just getting views. I see him improving as well, so he's got a particular dedication to the sport, and he's helped several fighters out, even on some of the shows he's fought. He gave him his money out of his own pocket for the undercard fighters, so I can't complain about Jake Paul. I think he seems like a good person. I've never met him in person, but it seems like a good, I know his trainer BJ Floor as well. He's a cool guy. I was in the amateur with him. He's a friend of mine. But Jake seems like a good guy, honestly. But having said that, even if he improves to a degree that he may start beating some mid-level pro fighters, I mean, him beating Golovkin he's probably smoking some good stuff when he's giving you that interview. I can't see a sober version of himself thinking, or a sober version of anybody thinking he would beat Canelo in the coming years. It's too much of a gap to close. I would be very, very shocked.
Switching to the heavyweight landscape, AJ versus Usyk, we're expecting an announcement of the rematch possibly in the coming days. Again, is that the right fight for AJ to go straight back in for the rematch with Oleksandr Usyk?
You know, I don't know where you go with AJ at this point other than that, really. You know, where else do you go? You know, I don't like his chances in the rematch, but you know, he's also at a point in his career where if he doesn't fight Usyk, what does he fight? You know, the Fury fight's off the table, coming off a loss, and also if Fury might be retiring. I guess you could have went for Deontay Wilder, and you know, in a non-title fight that would have been exciting, but it's just as much of a risk, really. I mean, you might as well fight Usyk and try to get your titles back, you know, and then go for the gusto. I actually was one of the ones that picked him to win the first fight. I thought he was too big, and I thought that would eventually catch up to Usyk. But from what I saw, the way it played out in the first fight, I actually am going the other way now. It's hard for me to see the adjustments AJ can make that would work. I know what he has to do. I just don't know if he's able to do that, to make those physical adjustments. And so it's hard for me to see him beat Usyk. Plus, Usyk is going to have a lot of motivation with the whole Ukraine thing going on and whatnot. Even though, you know, people make it more political than it should, you know, he's got his own moment. You know, he's personally a Ukrainian fighter, so he's going to definitely feel that extra motivation to fight. So it's not an easy situation for AJ, but I can understand why he's going to go for the rematch. I can't see him winning the fight though.
You obviously mentioned there Tyson Fury. He has mentioned that he has retired from sport boxing. Do you reckon though that if all the belts were on the table, the winner of AJ Usyk, do you reckon he could be encouraged to come back to the sport and have that one big fight for all the belts?
You never say never, but I feel like there's just too much going on with him that he can just make money and remain very, very relevant and not have to take those risks to his brand, to his image. You know, right now he's retired as an undisputed heavyweight champion, and I think that, you know, it bodes well for his image and his brand, and he's always going to be a sought-after commodity. And add into that the fact that he's charismatic, he's got a personality. People want to talk to him, people want to engage with him. You know, you've got these boxing exhibitions that are constantly showing themselves in the mix, and you know he's going to be out for those. The Ngannou one is one of them, possibly. Those probably sell even better than heavyweight unification. I hate to say it, but MMA fans are that dumb that, you know, you'll probably end up selling an Ngannou exhibition more than you would a heavyweight unification with AJ or Usyk. So he can probably do that, and it's less of a risk to his brand than or he can do WWE and Vince McMahon. I mean, he's got a lot of options. It's certainly a lot of options. He's not going to be missing anything, and I think I can't see him fighting him. I mean, I can't picture him fighting again.
Super. Paulie Malignaggi, thank you very much for giving IntuBoxing some of your time, and we'll hopefully catch up with you in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.